Welcome to Ritual Skill Modelling. This is part 4 of the AMT Star Trek Next Generation USS Enterprise MCC 1701C. In part 3, I was painting the hull and the saucer section. I've still got a bit of the hull to do, which I'll go through in part 4. Also in part 4, I'll go into looking at fitting the lighting on the saucer section. So let's get into this build. So as I said, continuing on from where I left off in part 3, I'm placing on the white onto the hull here, and this is Rebel Aquacolor 05 white. This is like the main colour of the ship. It's more of an off-white, to tell you the truth, than an actual brilliant. For the neck, it's the light blue colour. So it's the same as the side colour I'm painting. This is quite easy to paint, just right up hard against the line. And then once that's done, that's the main colours down for the hull. So now it's on to the work myself, so everything's getting a base colour of white. For the impulse bay here, I didn't realise there was some little windows that had to be drilled out, so I'm just doing that now before I go into anything else. So I'm just using my pin drive to drill them in. Now I didn't drill them in the exact same place where the I would suggest you put them in, but I've just put them in a random area really. I think it should look alright. Then it's onto the base coat of white for this. And it's the same for the middle section of the hull, but this is where the pylons sit on the struts. So again, the base white colour going on. However, before I carry on with it, I did forget to do something, and that is because I'm lighting this up, you have to make a little trench in this part for the wires to go. So I'm just marking out with my pencil where I'm going to be putting the trench. And then using my Dremel, I'm just going to sand down the area that I want the wires to go in, so where the pencil marks are. Now, when you're doing it, don't do it too much. Also, you do not want to come down through the other side. Have your Dremel on a low speed as well, because you don't want to be melting the plastic. It's quite easy to do. So just do a little bit of time and check it to make sure it's as deep as you need it to be, but don't go any deeper. The black you see there is not melted plastic, I should add. It's just the black paint that's underneath that I use for light blocking. Now you may have to do this on both sides of the middle part of the hull section, or the strut section. I've only done it on the one side for now. It's not until I put the cables in I'll decide whether I need to do a little bit more on the other side. As you can see there, I'm just taking a rough file and taking off any burrs, so that's not going to impede when I close the two sections together. And then just check it to see whether you can actually get the wires in. See there's a little hole there. And now, depending on the thickness of your wire, is how much you can get in. But as you can see there, that has gone in. I will probably have to make it a little bit larger. So onto the nacelles, and I'm using the darker of the two blue colours here to paint in these areas here. Not exactly sure what the areas are for, but they're always a bluish colour on the Enterprise C. So I'm just painting in this colour there, then I'll cut in the white afterwards. And while that yellow's drying, I'm just painting in the blue flash that runs along the top of the hull. So now for the second part, and I'm using Tamiya's X27 Clear Red, and I'm just going over the yellow, just one light coat, and that will change the colour to red, but in a sort of glassy-ish look with the yellow poking through. And now it's time to paint the panelling on the middle part of the hull section, and these are painted in the darker blue colour that I mixed up. So that's the RC404 greater blue, 40%, and the 191 chrome silver, 60%, to make up this colour. I will keep on showing you that colour as well, in case you want to make this mix. But as I keep on saying, it's entirely up to you what colours you use. So now going back to the yellow, that's the Rebel Aqua 16 Sandy Yellow, and these are for the escape pod dotted around the sides here. Now, I've had a look at photographs, and on the saucer section, some are white and some are a yellowish colour. So I can't make my mind up which way to go, whether to leave the saucer section white or paint them in this colour. I'll decide later on down the line. Going back to the bottom part of the saucer section here, and I'm just gluing on the housing that handles the little dome. So just a little bit of cement before the housing goes on. And this just slots into place, like so. Once I can get hold of it, that is. And then I will just push it in. Now the reason why I'm doing this now and not later on is because I need to make a hole for the light to come through. So I was about to place on the unit first before I make my hole. And that way you can get it centre. So as you can see there, I'm using my pen drive and for the hole. And once that's done, I'll just take my hobby knife and twist it around inside the hole until it's a proper size. But if you're doing it this way, be careful you're not actually going to damage the part you just placed in. You don't want to thin that wall down, or you'll find that your clear part that goes in won't fit. Now I'm just using a file to sand down any little burrs. It's important because you don't want anything to catch on the wires when you put them in. So if what I'm pointing out there, there's a little circular mark where you would think it'd be the centre, and it's not quite the centre. This is why I put in the part first, so you know exactly where your hole is going to go. Then once that's in, it was just a case of painting it with the white colour. So that's Rebel Aqua Colour 05 white. So it's just a little bit, you don't need much, it's just a small part, but you may as well get it painted in out of the way. I'm now just placing on little bits of tape on the two parts of the saucer section where I'm pointing there. The reason for that is because I'm going to be taking off the recess points for the location pins. You want to make sure it's going to be lining up properly, or on both sides lining up properly. So this little bit of tape just helps do that when you're going to be putting it together. And then on the tape, I'm just going to mark in R and G and W. So that's red, green and white. And that's just the colours of the lights that are going to go there. And it's the same for the lower half of the saucer section. Now it's time to take off these location points, but the recess points here for the pins. Now you don't necessarily have to take off the back one. In fact, I wouldn't take the back one off, because that'll give you an anchor point when you're putting them together. So I'm just taking my side snippers here and trimming off the bit of plastic initially. Then I'll use my hobby knife just to take off any excess. You don't have to be 100% neat here doing this, as long as you get it down to the base level of the main unit. You may also need to just poke your drill bit through again to make sure the hole's still open up, because a bit of the plastic may have pushed over your hole. So just run it through a couple of times to make sure the hole is still going to be there. And now it's on to the lighting. Now I actually changed my mind while I was doing this, but what I'm doing here is just checking the position of some LED lights. These are 3mm LED lights. Initially it was going to be red, green and white going in next to these little holes. As you can see, they're already pre-wired. I've got some pre-wired and not pre-wired. But before I go into that, I'm going to be marking out my main lights. Now what I've got here is some strip LED lights. They come in generally reels of 5 meters, and each one is in sections of 3. But before you use them, just check to see that they're all working okay. So I just put a little bit of power into them to make sure they're okay. So it's a bit muddled, but there you go. Just I always do this because I've had a couple where for some reason they haven't worked. So before you start anything, just make sure that your lights are going to be working, and the key here is to check them every time you do something new to your lighting system. But I'll go through that as we go along. So next is to check some of the LEDs. As I said, I'm changing it slightly, but I still may use a couple of these LEDs in the cells. As I said, these are pre-wired, so it's already got a resistor inside them. These are the little resistors that you get from very many different sizes and currents. You will have to pick the right one for your LED. So again, I'm just adding the power, and this one's a flashing one, as you can see, a blue flashing one. I won't use this one, I don't think. Now these LEDs come in many different colours. I just got some base colours here: white, green, red and blue. That's a 5mm LED and compared to a 3mm LED. So you can see the different sizes, and of course these ones are not wired up, so you will have to put these resistors on. It may be worth getting a little resistor kit if you're going to do this, or if you've never done it before. These are many different resistors in, but it has the values and this little card inlet, and it tells you what ohm value it is. Generally, you're looking at from about 350 to 470 ohms for each LED, depending on what the LED is doing. This is a little DIP switch that I'm thinking about using. Now, I've never actually used these before, so I'll have to have a little play around with that and see if I can get it incorporated. But I'll be there to turn the lights on and off. So it's back to the strip LED lights, and as you can see there, where the blank space is, this is where I'm going to be putting the lights. So these lights can be cut up in brackets of 3. After each third light, there's a little metal connector, and you can cut that right in between the two connectors, and that will give you your contact point for your soldering, and it won't damage the LED. So just take a pair of scissors and just cut it off, and there you go. So once I've got my strip of 3, just put it on the dish, and then look at the positive and negative and see which way around it is. There is a little bit markings on it to tell you where the positive and negatives are. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up, but let's have a look. Nah, the camera can't really pick it up. But there's a little plus sign and negative sign for you to go by. But depending on where you cut them, you may not have them on. So just test them and just mark in with a pencil what side's the positive and negative. So I just draw a minus sign and a plus sign for that. So as you can see, I've been positioning the lights on. I have marked them up with a pencil where I think they should go. This is not a hard and fast rule, it's only a guide, but it gives me the sort of lighting plan as such, how I want to do. And as I'm going along, I'll put right in the positive and negative sides as well on each mark I've done, and also an arrow to show you which way I want the wire to run. So once I know where the strip of 3 is going, I'm going to be marking off a strip of 6. So same as the 3, on the 6th one I'm just going to cut right down the centre, so that will give me a strip of 6, and then again, like the 3, I'm just going to place it on around where I think they should go. You may want a bridge going over, you may not. You can also as well do a ring. You can use a bit of plastic card and turn it into a ring and put these lights on. It's entirely up to you how you do it. There's no right or wrong way. you're just looking to make sure you've got enough light inside the saucer section. Now I do this on each side of the saucer section to try and get the maximum amount of light in. Don't worry if you think you put too much light in, it doesn't matter, as long as you put enough in. You don't want half your windows lighting up and the other half not, after drilling all those holes. And before I wrap this video, the part that I changed my mind of was the location lights. So I've decided just to change the colour in them. Instead of changing it by lights, I'm going to do it another way. So I'm just putting in some canopy glue over the 2 location holes there. As you can see, I've already tested it with some paint already. I've done this off camera, so it's time to actually do it now. So this glue will set clear, and once that's done, I'll just paint that part red and green, and that will give me my different colours in the light. So I'm not putting in loads of different LEDs in. So switching back now, just marking up the lights. This is actually going to bring part 4 to a close. In part 5, I'll be placing the LED strips onto the saucer section and wiring them up. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the other parts for this build, or indeed check out my channel for my other builds. There's something there for everyone, I would hope. Subscribe to the channel for the upcoming updates on the Enterprise C build, and of course hit that like button. You can also leave any comments you wish. I try to reply to them all when I can. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.